All right, so today we're diving into something a little different. We're talking GTA 5, but not the GPA you're thinking of.
Huh.
Forget car chases and heists. We're talking about building businesses, entire empires, inside the game.
It's a fascinating concept and not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Right. So we've got tech futurist Nurbay Chauhan to thank for this vision of GTA as a virtual business hub.
And he lays out a pretty compelling case.
So give it to me straight. What does Chauhan envision in this GTA business world? What's he actually talking about?
Well, he starts with the premise that GTA 5 already has the foundation for this. The detail, the open world environment, the huge player base that's always hungry for more. Chauhan says the potential is there to create a fully functioning business ecosystem within the game.
Okay, so we're talking more than just buying a virtual lemonade stand here. What kind of businesses are we talking about?
Think bigger. Chauhan talks about everything from players running their own virtual taxi companies to in-game fashion houses designing and selling digital clothing.
So basically taking those get-rich-quick schemes from the single-player game and turning them into actual legitimate businesses.
Exactly. But it goes deeper than that. Chauhan talks about utilizing the unique aspects of the GTA world to offer experiences you wouldn't find anywhere else.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, for one, imagine players could offer stunt driving lessons within the game, using GTA's physics engine and open world map to create a truly immersive experience.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I could see how that would be a lot more exciting than your average driving school. But this is all still theoretical, right?
Sure.
Is Chauhan really suggesting that this could have real-world implications beyond just being a fun addition to the game?
Absolutely. He argues that this kind of virtual business world could disrupt entire industries.
Such as?
Well, take education, for example. He talks about the potential for hyper-realistic training simulations within GTA. Imagine medical students practicing surgery on virtual patients or aspiring entrepreneurs testing business strategies in a risk-free virtual market.
So it's like taking those career simulation games we all played growing up, but bringing them into a world that already feels incredibly real and has this massive online community.
Precisely. And that ties into another industry Chauhan sees being revolutionized, real estate.
Oh, right, because virtual real estate is already a thing.
And it's booming. But imagine, instead of just buying and selling digital plots of land, companies could buy virtual office space in GTA 5, set up virtual storefronts, host virtual conferences, all within this incredibly detailed and popular game world.
Hold on, you're saying businesses would pay real-world money for a virtual office in a game? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly what Chauhan is suggesting, and he
Yeah.
backs it up by pointing to the existing virtual real estate market, which is already seeing millions of dollars in transactions. He sees GTA as the perfect platform to take this to the next level. He even suggests players could become virtual landlords, owning and renting out properties within the game.
Okay, my head is officially spinning. You're telling me there's a chance I could make a living by owning virtual property in GTA?
Hey, stranger things have happened, right?
I guess you're right. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. This is all very exciting and a lot to take in. But before we go full Ready Player One on this, let's back up a bit. How does any of this actually work? We're talking about businesses, profits, real-world money changing hands. How do we get from virtual dollars to seeing an actual return on investment?
So Chauhan really gets into the weeds on this. He lays out several revenue streams.
Okay, I'm all ears. Hit me with the highlights.
Well, one that caught my eye was in-game advertising, but we're not just talking about billboards here.
Let's be honest. Nobody really pays attention to billboards, even in real life.
Exactly. He's talking about brands creating these interactive experiences within GTA sponsoring events.
Okay, so like instead of just driving past a virtual billboard for, say, a virtual energy drink,
Mm-hmm.
I could actually like attend a virtual music festival sponsored by that brand.
That's the idea. Players actually engaging with brands in a way that feels natural within the game world.
Okay, that makes sense. But is that really going to be enough to like keep the lights on in this virtual economy?
Right. Advertising is just one piece of the puzzle. Don't forget about those virtual properties we were talking about. Chauhan predicts this whole rental market will spring up within GTA.
You mean like companies leasing office space from players?
Exactly. Prime storefronts, event spaces, even virtual billboards. It creates this whole new level of like scarcity and competition within the game.
So not only could I hypothetically make money by owning virtual real estate, I could also have a steady income stream by renting it out.
Right. And just like in the real world, those virtual properties could appreciate in value over time.
Oh, come on. Now you're just messing with me, right? Virtual property speculation.
Think about it. You buy a virtual warehouse in some up-and-coming virtual neighborhood, and the next thing you know, some big tech company decides to build their virtual headquarters next door. Your property value just went through the roof.
Okay, you've officially blown my mind. Is there anything else?
Well, Chahan also brings up the M word.
Microtransactions. Here we go.
I know. But he actually makes some interesting points about how they could be implemented ethically and effectively in this context.
Ethically and effectively being the key words there.
Yeah.
So how's he going to convince the gaming community that this isn't just another cash grab?
Well, he emphasizes player choice and transparency. So no loot boxes, no pay-to-win mechanics. He's talking about purely cosmetic items, early access to new features, or maybe time-saving boosts, things that enhance the experience but don't give anyone an unfair advantage.
It's like a little virtual capitalism to fuel the virtual dream.
I can dig it. But okay, let's not get all utopian just yet. We gotta talk about the potential downsides here. You mentioned economic meltdowns. What's that look like in a GTA context? Everyone loses their virtual cars.
It's a little more complicated than that, but basically, Chahan argues that a virtual economy, just like a real one, is vulnerable to things like inflation, market manipulation, and just sudden shifts in player behavior. So you're saying, like, all my hard-earned virtual millions could disappear overnight because some 12-year-old decided to flood the market with counterfeit virtual sneakers.
It's a possibility, but Chahan stresses that developers would need to build in safeguards, almost like a virtual central bank. Monitoring the economy, making adjustments as needed to prevent things from spiraling out of control.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. But what about data privacy? This whole concept seems like, I don't know, a recipe for some next-level data mining.
It's definitely a valid concern, and Chahan is a big advocate for things like strong data encryption, transparent data usage policies, and just giving players more control over their own data.
So like a virtual constitution to protect our virtual rights.
We got it. Players need to be informed about what data is being collected, how it's being used, who it's being shared with, and they need to be able to opt out if they're not comfortable with it.
Right, because what happens in the metaverse doesn't necessarily stay in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our virtual economy, our virtual laws. But there's still the issue of addiction. GTA is already a pretty immersive experience.
Totally. And that's not lost on Chahan. He talks about the need for developers to implement features that promote healthy gaming habits.
So like virtual reminders to go outside and touch some grass.
Maybe not that explicitly, but yeah, like time limits, spending trackers, even just, reminders to take breaks and step away from the screen.
It's like we're trying to preemptively solve all the problems of the real world in this virtual one. It's like we're trying to build a virtual utopia, but with all the same potential pitfalls as the real world.
Yeah, it's a tightrope walk, for sure.
Yeah.
But Chahan brings up this whole other element that could really shake things up.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the game changer? Spill it?
Artificial intelligence.
AI. AI. So we're going beyond just like smarter NPCs here.
Yeah.
What's Chahan see AI doing in this virtual world?
He thinks it could be the key to making all of this truly immersive and personalized. Imagine AI-powered NPCs that you can have actual conversations with, not just those repetitive dialogue trees we see in games now.
Okay, now that's cool, but also kind of creepy.
Mm.
Are we talking like Westworld-level realism?
Chahan thinks that level of sophistication is within reach, and it goes way beyond just NPCs. He's talking about AI algorithms that learn as you play. They pick up on what you like, what you don't like, and they start tailoring the entire game experience to you.
So the missions, the business opportunities, even the virtual ads are customized to my interests.
Exactly. It's like having a personal AI assistant, but instead of just managing your inbox, they're curating your entire virtual life. And for game developers, AI could help create a world that's constantly evolving storylines that react to player choices, events that unfold organically.
So less like a video game, more like a simulation of reality.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the whole point, right?
Right. But here's where it gets really interesting. Chan argues that this level of AI integration could actually have real-world applications.
Okay, now you're blowing my mind again. How so?
Well, think about it. If we can create a virtual world this complex and this engaging, imagine what we could learn about things like urban planning, traffic flow, even just how people interact with each other. That data could be incredibly valuable.
So GTA is a giant social experiment. That's a lot of pressure to put on a video game.
It's a bold idea for sure, but it speaks to the potential impact this could have. We're not just talking about entertainment anymore. This is about the future of how we work, how we learn, how we interact with technology and with each other.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around, that's for sure. So, for our listeners out there who might be feeling a little overwhelmed, what's the key takeaway here? What should we be thinking about as we maybe potentially head into this brave new virtual world?
I think the most important thing is to just stay informed, stay curious, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. This technology is evolving fast and it's going to impact all of us. We have a responsibility to shape how it evolves to make sure it's used for good.
Couldn't have said it better myself. As we stand at the edge of this virtual revolution, it's not just about can we do this, it's about should we? And if so, how do we make sure it's done responsibly, ethically? How do we prevent the virtual world from becoming just another version of all the problems we already have?
Those are the million-dollar questions, and honestly, the answers are far from clear. But by having these conversations, by really digging into both the potential and the pitfalls, maybe we can start to find our way.
That's a future I think we can all get behind. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. If you could design your ideal virtual world, what would it look like? What opportunities would it offer? And what safeguards would you put in place to make sure it really is a force for good?
It's a question worth considering. And who knows, maybe someday soon we'll all have the chance to find out.
This has been quite the deep dive. And as always, we want to thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep asking those big questions.
See you in the metaverse.